you will not begin to realize that consciousness is the be-all and everything in your existence and experience until you notice how ideas and opinions can raise or lower the frequencies of vibration of your consciousness. I want you to become aware of the words that you use in your daily lives and the quality of life that they create for you and the impact that they make on others, either lifting their moods into peace and joy or leaving them depressed and depleted. Now, I have been finding here lately that that message, that was from the Christ letters, by the way. There's a couple statements that I just made there. I'm not sure if they're word for word, but if you haven't read the Christ letters yet, I would highly recommend it. It's talking about Jesus's his real message from his point of view. This is a channeled message of his consciousness coming through and talking about what he was really trying to teach. And so he is talking about that. And I've studied them for years, but I have experienced the enlightenment that they speak about in the Christ letters that comes to you through this constant studying and meditation, because I've taken many private spiritual journeys on my own. I would highly recommend this to anyone. Go somewhere with the intention of having a spiritual enlightenment come to you. Now, when I say enlightenment, I want to describe this to you, that I cleansed myself over this period of weeks that I went there. And the only reason I went there was to forgive my husband, who I'd been married for 18 years, with him for 24, and he had been unfaithful, and it was devastating and heartbreaking. And I went up there to figure out what to do to get out of the confusion and to forgive him. And it was through this. Well, there's more to it than that, but I mean, I had been, when I go there, I just study, I read the Christ letters, I meditate, I dance, I'm just by myself. And you know, lots of us don't do that. Lots of us do, but lots of us don't do that. Take that time to truly, truly be by yourself, to have no one else to speak to for weeks, to have no Wi-Fi, so you're not just sitting there distracted on your phone, but to actually have to be there with yourself, and it truly changes things. And it was through this process of cleansing away everything that I wasn't right. There's nothing up there to distract me. All that I could do was do the good work that I intended. And the good news that came through to me was this beautiful enlightenment. And so now I find every day my intention is to clearly communicate with the divine, to spend time with the divine, and to do what I need to do to stay in the highest alignment. So last night I went out and we did a moon ceremony out at my friend's place in the yard. And so she's got a big lot. It's beautiful, that backs onto this golf course. It's very naturey, you know, just outside of Joplin, Missouri. So it's just beautiful. There's a snake out there when I was out there yesterday going across the path, which I looked up after the fact, and it's a very good omen, this black snake, you know, about shedding the old. And so what we ended up doing was most of the plans that we'd had for the evening were canceled. So these people were not meant to be there that evening. So I ended up doing a channeled message for everyone, and then doing a healing hypnosis session after the fact. And it was really lovely. Right before this moon, I had this deep flash of insight. And so, as you guys know, if you listen to my channel, I had my oldest son when I was 16. And so my mom was a very crucial role in his life, because we lived with her for the first year and a bit. when he was born, they developed this very tight bond, and my mom and son have remained very close. They text, they, whatnot. It's very nice. And he's 25 now. And so I just thought, you know what, I had this deep insight in this, like, really overwhelming feeling just come to me all of a sudden, this thankfulness that I had for my mom and for how, she has this bond with him, and that he has her, and he's married now, and, his wife will text my mom, and I love this for him, that he has that. And so I thought, you know what, I've never really expressed, or maybe, I guess, I don't know how it's never come up, but I sent my mom a message and said, I just really appreciate that closeness that you have with him. It really is, it's a wonderful thing. It's a gift for him, for her, for everybody. And so I sent out this message of appreciation. And then I met a woman last night. She was lovely. She had been in a drug recovery center for, she's only been in there for 3 weeks. What a good soul this woman has. Anyway, she was talking about appreciation. And I'm like, man, that is so funny, because it was only like, we did yoga together, but it was right prior to that yoga class that I had sent that message of appreciation to my mom, and she is the one who brings up this appreciation, and I'm like, dang, this is so synchronous. And then I tell her, oh, hey, like, I got this YouTube channel, because she was talking about the mental health and, the people in the center and that she's with and the mental health aspect. And I'm like, well, I got this YouTube channel. And she's like, I've been looking for this. I've been looking for something, and blah, blah, blah. And our entire conversation with this beautiful soul was all synchronous. Just one thing after the other. I was looking for this, and hey, I found it. I was just talking about this yesterday, and now I found it. So the channel message that I gave yesterday, part of it I remember was talking about the shift that has occurred, and this is a shift in our consciousness. So her saying, hey, I want to find this, and then the very next day finding it, me talking about the appreciation, her confirming this, an hour later. These things they're beginning to happen faster and faster and faster. And so those people who are in alignment, who are open to the truth, and who are part of the beginning of this evolutionary consciousness shift, are going to see this play out. All these synchronicities, and it's because you are part of this evolutionary shift. Now, here's the deal. We are all going to get swept up in it. This is how consciousness works. So the 100th monkey experiment, I'll tell you about it just in case you've never heard about this before. So there's all these monkeys, they're hanging out on this island, and they're eating sweet potatoes, and their sweet potatoes are covered in sand because these monkeys, aren't cleaning off their potatoes. So one day they observe these Japanese snow monkeys and see that one of them cleans off his potato, and they're like, oh, look at, the monkey cleaned his potato. Okay, this is good. So anyways, then, he or she, whoever it was, monkey, cleans their potato and teaches another monkey to clean their potato. So they show up the next day and, oh, look, there's 2 monkeys. They're cleaning the sand off their potatoes. So this goes on, and they just, keep observing this experiment, and then all of a sudden one day they show up and all the monkeys are cleaning off their sweet potatoes. But that's not the cool part. The cool part is that this is like a set of islands, or there's monkeys, over here, and there's monkeys over here. They're not connected to each other. And what was observed was that when these monkeys over here all of a sudden started washing their sweet potatoes, all the monkeys who didn't have contact with these other monkeys also started cleaning their sweet potatoes. So this is an example of the evolution of consciousness. So, but here's the thing. It had to start out with the monkey who was washing his potato. He began it. And he had to step out and he had to do something uniquely different than all those other monkeys that were still eating sand on their potatoes. Now, if we were dealing with human consciousness, right? Monkeys aren't like, they're not embarrassed that they're still eating sand on their potatoes, right? They are just open to, what? We don't have to eat sand on our potatoes? This is amazing. And, so they uplift themselves and just easily go about this evolutionary consciousness. Now, here's the deal with people. People can resist, right? Our consciousness is all that exists. And so through this mind control that we have or that we don't have, we choose things for ourselves. So sometimes when this evolutionary consciousness shift that is occurring, it's already occurring. If you know this, it's because you're part of it. It's because you can feel it. You're experiencing it. And so what happens here is there will be some of us that are going to shift, and we're creating heaven on earth. We are doing this through our thoughts, through our words, and through our actions. So right after this, and I'll post it probably tomorrow, I'm going to make a video that is just mantras to get your mind in the right state to create exactly what it is that you want in your life. So there's this consciousness evolution that is happening, and it is us getting in divine alignment. So it is shedding all of the things that are not love. It is shedding our belief in evil. We're just getting rid of that completely, because when we don't believe in it, it does not exist. And through our consciousness shift, through this evolution, we are headed in a place that once we reach the tipping point, everybody's on board, whether they were part of the beginning of this shift or not. But it's us now who is helping to create this. We're the monkeys that are teaching the others right now to wash their sweet potatoes. And pretty soon, at some point, there will be a shift and everybody's going to be washing their sweet potatoes. Meaning everyone is going to be forced to see the truth. But this will be a very welcome thing, because this is, we're shifting into an era of peace and love. And our every living thought is a transforming influence on this planet. So we are shifting into an era of peace and love. It's coming. It's inevitable. Whether you're part of the beginning of this shift or not, it doesn't matter. It's going to happen no matter what. So we are on this upward spiral. So if you were to imagine a spiral going upward, and imagine that half of it is in the dark and half of it is in the light. But it's constantly moving up. So, it's going through the dark, and then it's going to the light, but it's constantly moving up, then it's dark, and then it's light. We are evolving, we're moving up, so we're going into the light, and we're just at the start of it. We're coming out of that era of darkness. So currently at this time, I saw this several years ago. It's like the collective consciousness to me looks like this massive brain, and it is shifting constantly all the time with these dark and light energies. Nothing wrong with this, but this is just where we're at in our consciousness evolution right now. And it takes currently the suffering to cause enlightenment, right? Because the personal growth that you gain and all of the things, the strength that you've got in your life, all the stuff, all the things have come, only if you've learned from it, have come from the suffering that you have gone through in your life, right? So we are coming out of that era right now, and we are moving up into the light. And so, as I said, it's a spiral, but it's just going up, and it's just getting brighter and brighter, because we're just leaving the darkness, heading into the light right now. So it's inevitable that this shift is going to occur. There's no escaping it. There's no avoiding it. So if you want to go with the flow, then it's going to make it a whole lot easier. Meaning, don't be resisting any of these things. If there's past traumas that are coming up that you feel like you need to work with or work through, you do it. Because as you let go of those heavy, dense energies from your energetic system, they actually are, they're the darkness. And we want to put in more light, because that darkness it's heaviness. It's got a heavy energy to it. And that darkness depletes the energy stores that you have within your living energetic system in your body. And so as we shift that heavy, dense, dark energy into actual light, and we become more light-bodied, actual light, then this shifts everything for us. And we can go with the flow easier, because the divine love is just an endless, pure love flow that is emanating through and around and coming towards you. And if you listen moment by moment, it will guide you intuitively. So some people, want to know what the future holds, right? We all do. We're like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen here. You know what I mean? So, and sometimes we'll even go looking for it. Sometimes we'll, go to a tarot reader or a psychic reader or somebody else, or ask a friend or whatever. What do you think is going to happen? Like, we're looking for this guidance for this, what's going to happen? What should I be doing? What choices should I be making? So I was told when I was up at my cabin one time, I was walking. So I had been in this enlightened state for several days, maybe even several weeks at this point. And so I'm talking like just crazy, miraculous, weird, but like they didn't seem weird because I was expecting miraculous, amazing things to be happening to me, wonderful things at this time to be happening. So I'm walking down the road, and I don't know if something awesome had just happened. I kind of assumed that happened, and this is why I asked my next question. So I'm walking down the road, and I'm just like, what am I supposed to, what now? Or something like that. I asked the divine, right? Because I haven't talked to people for several weeks, so the only one I'm talking to is the divine. And so I'm like, what am I supposed to be doing now? And I'm like asking this in like a joyful, excited, like, what am I supposed to be doing now? Like super pumped way. And I'm told, just keep walking. When I'm out for a walk. And I was like, what? Okay, just keep walking. That is the most dull answer ever. And I was like disappointed by this, but only for about a half a second or a second, because then I was told why. So I'm like, expecting this deep, profound insight of, well, you're going to go out and do this, and no, and I got, keep walking. So I was then told, you will be told moment to moment what it is that you must do. You will be divinely guided moment by moment. It is not future telling, but it is listening intuitively, second by second, moment by moment. What should I be doing right now? And as we do this, we are going with the divine flow. We are not creating any resistance, because we're doing what we want to be doing while being intuitively guided. And here's the deal. How often has this happened to you that you're like, and I'm just going to give you an example, but your example will be probably totally different. I feel like going to the mall. You go to the mall, and then you run into somebody you haven't seen in a long time. Well, you didn't need to go to the mall. You needed to go to the mall to see that person. It wasn't about the mall. It was about that person. But what happened? You were following what you felt like you must do. And because you followed this, which, let me explain this to you. This was coming from your heart and your head coherence, right? So the heart is, I want to go to the mall. And the head, it's like, yeah, we could go do that right now. We got nothing else to do. And done. You end up at the mall. Why did you go there? Well, because you wanted to. So the feeling of want is like a pull, right? When we want something, it's like we're trying to pull it to us. So the mall, although it was the person who was going to be at the mall, is pulling you to it. And so as you're listening to this and it's creating a want within you, and you match it up with your head that's like, yeah, this is possible, we can do this. And as you follow it, then these synchronous things happen. Just like last night when I met that woman. And what are the chances that she was looking for something that I had to offer, and I was looking for something that she had to offer? There is no coincidence. She was intuitively guided to go last night. There, was only maybe 7 of us there or something, maybe-ish. Just happens to go there. There's no chances. There's no nothing. We are told what to do moment by moment, and if we listen to it and we follow that guidance, miraculous and wonderful things will happen. Now, what happens when you don't want something? You can feel the pressure mounting up in your body, right? The tension comes up of, I don't want to do that. Or maybe it's a feeling of dread. Maybe it's a feeling, whatever it happens to be. What is this telling you? Do you think that the divine wants you to feel this way? No. The divine definitely does not want you to feel that way. So when we very first started out, I read you a quote from the Christ letters. I'm going to read it to you again here right now, and I want you to really absorb this. You will not begin to realize that consciousness is the be-all and everything in your existence and experience until you notice how ideas and opinions can raise or lower the frequencies of vibration of your consciousness. I want you to become aware of the words you use in your daily lives, the quality of life they create for you, and the impact they make on others, either lifting their moods into peace and joy or leaving them depressed and depleted. Now, ever since these several enlightenments that have come, I find myself filled with laughter and joyful emotions basically most of the day. And I will find myself laughing when I'm not laughing at anything. My body is just laughing. If anything happens that would normally, in my past, if I had an ego left, would bother me, like let's say if someone made fun of me or insulted me or did something like that, it actually brings up this well of joyful laughter because I feel bad for that person's ignorance, but it's not me making fun of them. It is literally me transmuting that energy, and it's just not even acceptable in my system. There's nothing that can take that joyfulness out of me. It wouldn't matter. Other people don't affect me. I am divinely protected, and I have been told this for a very long time. About 1.5 years, which feels like a very long time, that I'm told this almost daily. Like, you are divinely protected. You are divinely protected. And it is the divine telling me this, and I believe it 1,000,000,000%. So I find so much laughter and joy in my life because I've cleaned out those lower vibrational frequencies from my energetic system. They're just no longer there. Now, when I am working with my clients, and I just worked with this wonderful woman the other day, she is such a good, kind, caring soul here on YouTube. And after her session, I'll post the testimonial that she gave me, or bits of it. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. So she says, that this is the most basically well-rounded, complete work that she's ever done, because we went in, we had one issue to resolve, and we actually resolved it, and that she'd done all kinds of work around it. She'd even put on workshops herself around this kind of thing, but the work that we did was complete. Now, this is why. Because when we go in and we do this at a subconscious level, this is your soul level. So this is taking away your conscious mind, and this is connecting in with you at a soul level. The subconscious level, the part of you that stores all of your memories, it stores all of your emotions, it knows everything about everything. It has past life knowledge. Whether you believe in it or not really doesn't matter, because I didn't believe in it until I started doing the work that I'm doing, and we don't know, right? Whether this is information passed down through your DNA, it very well could be. This could be ancestral memories that you're having. I don't believe it to be so, but either way, I guess it depends how you look at it, because if this is information that's been passed down through your DNA, essentially your DNA has lived all of those past lives of the ancestors. Or this has been yourself at a soul level, which is what I believe, although it doesn't matter what I believe. This is just from what I've seen with working with clients, and the fact that children often, I would say 30% of the time in my case, and I am not directing them to do this, I'm just doing the same regression work I'm doing with an adult, but when I say let's follow this feeling back, they will very often, like I'm saying, 30% of the time, go to a past life. Why? Because they don't have this life experience yet. So I will find this with adults as well. So if we're going in to resolve some kind of issue, we're going to go in, I'm going to ask, is this from this life? If it is yes, then we'll stay here. And if it's like, oh, it began before, well, we're going to go back there too. We're going to go to the womb. We're going to go to all the places that we need to go, because our soul carries these things in our energetic system. And so the woman that I had been working with had this cough essentially her whole life. And so messaged me the next day and was like, this is the first night I've ever gone without coughing. And so this cough had to do with a past life, and also had to do with something like being in the womb. So you could never go to a therapist and have that come up. You might explore the idea that it's possible, but you wouldn't be able to go in and do the real healing work that needs to be done. You wouldn't be able to do it because you're not doing it at a soul level. You're doing it at a conscious level, not a subconscious level. So when we go in and we heal the soul, we cleanse it of all of these things that are not love. But here's the thing. So this cough had to do with speaking truth, and that this was not safe in other lives. This was very dangerous to, be a woman and speak your truth in another life. Oof. They used to do horrible things to us women for speaking the truth, and accuse us of all kinds of magical things because they didn't understand the spiritual nature that us women have, right? We give life to things. Not only are we the creators, we are the spiritual guides. Here on earth, there's something that us as women have that is a very wonderful and special gift. And, we've been doing this for years and years and years and years and years and years, and used to be murdered for it. And now we're at a part in the evolution where that's not the case anymore, and pretty soon that's going to shift even more towards even more spiritual earth, because this is how we create heaven on earth, is through spiritual truths, which is that only love exists, and this is what we're creating, is that era of peace and love, heavenly love here on earth. So that 100th monkey experiment, when that consciousness evolution shift took place. These monkeys who hadn't had contact with each other, are taking on this consciousness, which is showing you that we are gaining this, our insights and our things from a large pool of consciousness. And I wrote a book, and you guys can listen to it for free here, or you can buy it on Amazon. It's called The Way to Peace. In 2018, this was a channeled message that I got while I was up at my cabin. This was pre-enlightenment days, but it's still just a channeled message, and it's quite interesting because I channeled it. Like I say to you guys all the time, I don't remember what I say after the fact. So reading this book, every time I read it, it's like reading it for the first time. And so in there, it is talking about consciousness and how you have control as just a person, as a human, of your own consciousness. So example, you walk into a house and there's a certain mood that's going on in there. Let's say that it's a low frequency mood, for an example. You then have a choice. Is this low frequency mood, are you going to allow yourself to get lowered by it and have it drag you down or pull you down, or are you going to maintain your high vibration and thereby causing the other person to lift up towards you, right? We have a choice. We don't have to allow the low frequency to drag us down, although I know it is extremely difficult. If someone is meeting you with a certain type of energy, you just naturally return that type of energy. But it is a choice, right? You have free will. You could choose to not do that, even though it might not feel like a choice. Once you gain control of your mind, it's absolutely a choice, but it's still choice. Whereas the earth does not have this choice, and that it has to go with the majority of the collective. So this is the reason why there is climate issues and earthquakes and destruction that is happening on the world, because people believe in it more than they believe in good and evil. I mean, more than they believe that the Father is love, they believe in good and evil. And so they talk about it. It is spread through the media, and it forces us, for those who are unaware, to put our attention on the negative forces, the negative consciousness that's here. It's part of the collective, but it is forcing us, the media is forcing us, if you watch television or have it on, that television programming, it's programming your mind. It is forcing us to the negative, which is causing chaos and destruction in our world, because our thoughts are electric. They are a force that goes out and is returned back. So when we believe in things like climate change and earthquakes and volcanoes and destruction and this type of thing, it puts this into the pool of consciousness. And because the earth cannot make choices and decide, it goes with the collective, and it plays that out in our visible reality through the visible matter that you see, and it forces this on the earth, even though the earth does not want this for itself. It does not believe in this for itself, but it's our beliefs that are creating the visible matter that we're seeing here on earth. So this is an example of how the media controls us, right? They pick the narrative, and because so many millions of people are unaware, and they leave their televisions on, and it is subconsciously programming them and their mind, and it is taking over their mind. It is controlling their mind through this television programming. And therefore it's causing destruction, right? Because you can talk to people who, let's say that they're really into politics, or they watch a lot of TV or something, and they're going to tell you something like, oh yeah, didn't you hear about this? And it's like, what? No, I didn't hear about that. And here's the deal, because you didn't hear about it, it's not in your world. So you can create heaven for yourself, but it's what you allow in that can drag you down to hell. So being very conscious of environmental factors, Who's in your environment? Are they dragging you down? Are they lifting you up? What is their frequency like? Because it really matters what you surround yourself with, because, as I said, our thoughts are electric, and through these vibrating electrical particles, which create your visible matter, it is the frequency that you are holding within your mind, within your own consciousness, that is what creates the visible matter in your life. So you could be standing next to somebody who is very depressed. Therefore, they have a very low frequency within their body. And because they have this low frequency, what you are seeing and what they are seeing, the visible matter that you're seeing through your eyeballs, is different. When you have a high frequency, high vibrational frequency that's in alignment with divine love, you could see a homeless man walking down the street, but you're not seeing this. You are seeing them as someone who has it completely together, and you are blessing them in this way through what it is that you are seeing with your eyes. The visible matter changes depending on the frequency, and it's what you are emitting from yourself. So are you emitting joyful vibrations from your frequency, or lowered vibrations from your frequency? If they're lowered, then you just need to care for them and heal them and remove them. I know it sounds like it can be a difficult thing sometimes. This is why I made the Mental Cleanse series. Check it out. Check out the playlist. This is like attending free group hypnotherapy sessions. You can work through the issues. Do one a day. There's 39 of them on there. It'll take you some time, but it's going to create massive healing within you. But this is self-guided work. You'll be able to do it. I guide you through it, but you'll be able to do it. Because as we cleanse these things out of our consciousness, then we get more laughter, more joyful memories to make, more wonderful, uplifting choices that we make on a daily basis. We make choices that bring blessings into our life. And this pool of consciousness, this evolutionary shift that's going to occur, that's already occurring, like we're already coming out of the darkness, there are a few of us who are aware that this is what's happening. And so all we need to do is be the example and to cleanse ourselves out, and to make our auras very, very pure. Because as we do this, meaning very loving, because as we do this, the vibe that we're emitting to people heals them without you even having to say anything. Like literally you being in their presence affects their soul, because your soul, your subconscious knows, receives, is aware of, and creates all kinds of energetic attachments to people in your environment. This is why, if you go to work and certain people are there, you feel a certain way, and if these certain people are there, you feel a different way. This is because their energies are present and they are being felt by your spirit, by your soul. So this is why some days your environment at work, when people are missing or present or whatever it is, it feels different. So what happens when you have this good, clean, pure, loving, energetic aura is that you are creating upliftment, and the soul recognizes this, and the soul wants this because it recognizes it as being truthful and loving, and because it's so truthful, the soul knows that this is intuitively, this is what we are all seeking, is this divine loving alignment. And therefore, people are going to want you in their environment, but you are going to create healing just by being present. Even if you are, only around people for 5 minutes, for 2 minutes, for several weeks, for however long it happens to be, you will create a shift within the people in your environment, because they will want to do better, they will want to grow, they will want to have that joyful laughter and happiness that they see within you, because they recognize this as truthful, and this loving energy as something that they are seeking at a soul level. So just keep walking. Just keep walking. Intuitively guided. You were intuitively guided to listen to this today, so thanks for listening to this today. And just know that it is moment to moment. And so if it's like, what am I supposed to do right now? Well, listen to the, what do I want? What am I pulling towards myself? What do I want to do? And then go do it. You know, and if you're hurt, if you hear or you think or you whatever, oh, I shouldn't do this or I shouldn't do that, then don't do it. If you have the feeling of, you know, follow that heart and mind coherence. I feel like going to go do this. I want to go do this. My brain is telling me this is possible. Let's go do it. And if you have someone come into your mind, you feel like, oh, I need to call this person. Oh, I've been thinking about this and I need to do it. Go and do it. This is your intuition. This is intuitively telling you, or that person telepathically is telling you to call them, whatever it happens to be. But this is following that intuition. Go guided moment by moment. And if you feel like doing nothing, then do nothing. It's literally listening moment by moment. So you guys are listening to me moment by moment. Thanks for sticking it out here with me. Like I said, I'm going to make that video about affirmations, and that will be for tomorrow. So you all take care and have the most wonderful day, and I will see you guys in the next video.